welcome everybody to Bubbles with Bethany. I'm so excited this week. Hey, I'm going to mute everybody, so unmute yourselves if you're going to talk, only when you're going to talk, and that way we don't have to listen to you cook dinner. All right, mute all. Let's do it. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited this week, you guys. There's kind of a record. Tonight's kind of special because I started Bubbles with Bethany, I don't know, about 2 years ago or so. We took a little break here and there, but since I started Bubbles with Bethany, only one guest has come back as a repeat, and this is not her second, but her third time joining me on Bubbles with Bethany because you are my favorite, Ashley Wilson. I'm so excited to have you here. Ashley is a badass apartment syndicator. She's got an education program called Apartment Addicts. She is an author. The book is right behind her, called The Only Woman in the Room. She is very active in this space and one of the best asset managers and construction managers that I know. And I'm really excited to have you back once again, Ashley. Thank you so much. And let's say cheers to Ashley Wilson. Cheers. Is that clear rum, Ashley?
Yes, it is.
I love
I
it
don't know
so
if you
much.
can see it. Oh,
And I'm going to get yelled at by the team because I have it on gallery view because it's my favorite. I'll move to speaker view, Jade. Okay. Cheers, everyone. Ashley, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. This is probably one of my favorite things, like in terms of, events at night or podcasts, online events. This is one of my favorite by far.
Oh, that makes me so happy to hear. I'm excited. Now, before everybody, or while everybody was joining and getting on, Ashley was sliding in sideways because she had kind of a big day. Do you want to talk about it, Ashley? Let's just take a minute and just talk about it.
Well, I started the day off with a deposition, and
Never
that
fun.
is in day 2 of depositions. But today was my day. So that I don't know if anyone's been through a deposition, but that's about as fun as listening to nails on a chalkboard all day. And then for my follow up to my main course, I guess you should say, on the way home, we both, my husband and myself, were driving, and we didn't see this tire and ran over a tire and busted 2 of our tires. And we have a Tesla, and Tesla apparently doesn't repair tires on the same side of the car. So now we have to get all 4 tires redone. And the reason we can't go anywhere else is people don't want to fix a Tesla. So that was equally as fun. Then I was almost late to picking up the kids because I had to take an Uber home. It's just been like one thing after another after another. So that's why I was very stressed coming in at first, and then Zoom wouldn't work. So it's just been like, but don't worry, I brought not only a drink, but I brought a reinforcement if it gets to that point for tonight. So
Well, I can't
anyway,
remember. Like,
it should be fun.
is that one of your companies that you invested in?
Yes, yes.
All right.
So is Clear Rum. I actually am not a white rum drinker, but they have completely changed me. So my friends are the founders, and they invited me to talk about the company, and they wanted to get my opinions on it. And I said, you have the wrong girl. I do not drink white rum. And then they asked me, what do I drink? I told them, and they said, we will guarantee you will love this. They were 100% right. And I was sold as soon as I tasted it. They have a can line, and then they have a top shelf line, and their top shelf tastes, I think it tastes very similar to Claza Azul, if anyone has had that, but rum, and significantly cheaper. It's not $200 a bottle. I think it's like $30 or $40 a bottle. So much more reasonably priced, different alcohol, but extremely tasty.
We might have
I
to
love
get that
that.
down at the hotel, Bethany.
Yes. Yeah, we do need to talk about that. We should carry that at the Mariposa.
100%. I can hook you up with that. for sure.
They'll have to compete because obviously Belize is kind of known for rum, so it'd be fun to do I guess I can charge more for it there because it's an import there.
It's exclusive.
That's so funny. Jared can attest that my morning started off not as fun too. So I've been looking forward to this all day to have a chat with you. So let's all take a collective breath because I know everybody's busy and everybody slides into these things sideways. And let me just tell you, I'm so appreciative of all you being here too, because I know everyone's super, super busy. And so I super appreciate you all being here too. That means the world to me. Oh, I just minimize my screen. Sorry. It's a day. So I know you've done this a million times before, or at least three. And Jared actually brought up a really funny point, and he said, well, Ashley's already answered these questions a couple of times. And I'm like, that's true. But I do feel like every time people answer these questions that I'm about to ask you, it's a little different depending on where you are, right? And either the day or where you are in your career or, whatever it is. And so the answers, I think, tend to change a little bit over time, depending on when you're answering it. Or people evolve and grow and that sort of thing. So it's been probably a year since we've talked about this, but then also not everybody on here was here then. So if it's the exact same words, I don't even care because I want to hear it anyway.
You know what though? That perspective thing that you just brought up about how like because all the work that Ashley does that we're going to go into, how a single deal could change her perspective on wealth consciousness or like meeting somebody. And I almost kind of like when we have repeat people, I like go back and see what they said
Mhm.
before the show and then see what they say during the show and see like, well, what happened between now and then? Like,
Yeah.
how did your perspective evolve? Because I think that's important. Like, that's
Well,
part of
and
this whole
two big
growth
things
journey.
have happened, and I didn't mention this, and I'm going to admit that my internet froze for a second while you were talking, but two big things have happened since the last time we talked. Clear Rum was just starting to surface, I think, the last time we talked on Bubbles with Bethany. And then since then, you've also launched this kick-ass software platform that I want you to talk about as well. But first, I really want you to tell everybody what your unique superpower is that led you to all these amazing things that you're working on.
Ooh, this is a loaded question. I think my unique superpower is the ability to see a situation and be able to dissect it faster than most people and be able to come up with a solution that is multifaceted. And I think when I have worked in different realms of my career where people have really been surprised by my responses to things, it's always in that context. They can't believe how quickly I can come up with a solution, and they can't believe how the solution solves multiple problems and takes into consideration multiple factors. And that is whether it is related to a company situation, but it's also related to people's personal problems. People will divulge their deepest and darkest secrets to me, and I have no idea why. And Kyle doesn't know why either. Kyle's my husband, for anyone who doesn't know. And he's like, you can talk to someone for 2 minutes and they will literally tell you their deepest, darkest secret. And I don't know what aura I give off, but I know that I come from a place of always wanting to help and always wanting to improve, whether that is a company and help a company, or if it's someone who is struggling personally. And I never judge. That's one thing that I am very proud of myself for. I have never judged anyone or anyone's situation or company. I'm highly empathetic. And I think that plays into it. But I also think I've come to the realization over the past 2 months or so that I feel like I'm living the real life Slumdog Millionaire's life. I feel like I've had the weirdest, most eclectic upbringing and life, and I've experienced being poor, through and then working hard and then having money, but not having exorbitant wealth. And I feel like because of all of these unique experiences that I've had, I can connect with people, I can relate with people, I can understand different situations. And I think all of those situations have become now my superpower because I lean into that to help people and help situations.
I love that. And I love that so much. And you know what? Your answer is a little different than before. I think as
It's
circumstances.
definitely different than it was before.
And I love that because what I hear from you is that you're kind of leaning more into what it is you really want to be focusing your energy on. You're always the hardest worker in the room, not the only woman in the room. You're the hardest worker in the room. And then you had said last time we talked that that was such a badge of honor for you. But now I hear you, you're still working hard. I see you out there hustling and working hard. But I feel like you're working hard on things that are more meaningful to you right now. Is that true?
It's definitely more true because I feel like I can see all the pieces and how they fit together, and I couldn't see that previously. And I think that's how most of us go through our life is we don't really understand what is happening and why it's happening until after it happens. And we retrospectively look back and try to explain challenges we've come across. And I don't look at it that way anymore. I feel like I look at it in the sense of this is preparing me for this next thing I'm about to encounter as I go through it. And I can see that, you know, case in point for my deposition, I would be shocked to know that I'm not saying that I'm a billionaire, but I'm saying that if you looked at all billionaires, that they haven't been through something similar. Because in order to get to that level, you have to go through challenges. So if someone said to me, Ashley, you're going to have all these opportunities. 5 years ago, if they said to me, if you're going to have all these opportunities, but you have to also endure all of these challenges, would you go through that? You're going to have these issues. I would probably have said 5 years ago, yes, I would, because I would want the upside. And now I don't look at those challenges as step back. I actually look at it as it's helping me step forward.
Yeah, I mean I love that. And that's such a sort of evolved way of thinking too, of every challenge is propelling you to whatever thing it is you need to learn, which is fantastic, right? And I know depositions are no fun. And so I have so much empathy for you for that, because I know that's just emotionally and psychologically draining. So I definitely appreciate you agreeing to do this and being here after you've had two days of depositions because wow. So it's a good thing that we allow alcohol, right? 'Cause it's a little bit more bearable. No, I just sound like I have a problem. Oh,
She's not even drinking.
like,
Is
I'm
that
actually
that's not even champagne, right?
sparkling water today because today. But look at this. If you guys can you see this? I'm drinking it out of my Bardown Investments Augusta Court map wine glass that was like one of the best client gifts I've ever received from Ashley and her team at Bardown Investments. So it is a map of all the properties we help them syndicate on a wine glass, which how perfect is that? Which is like one of my
Oh, that's
favorite.
cool.
I'm cheersing you. It's a verb now. Cheersing you in your in your very own glass. All right, I'll
I
do
love what you said about challenges, because that's such a growth mindset. In I I completely agree. I live that way. I look for challenges because that's where the biggest growth comes. Like the bigger the challenge, the bigger the growth. But to that it's not just business. And that same rule applies in personal relationships, in your personal life, like just anything. It's all growth oriented.
I couldn't agree more.
That's awesome. And so every time we have this, well, actually, no, wait a minute. I'm going to back up for a second because I alluded to it and then I didn't really let you talk about it. One of those problems that you saw and then created this amazing solution for was I remember Mauricio Raul, my partner, for those of you who don't know, I'm really bad about doing because I've met people even 6 years later who are like, oh my God, Mauricio's your partner. So yes, Mauricio Raul actually posted in his real estate syndicator live Facebook group that he wanted to know if somebody had aggregated all of the real estate conferences in one spot so that we could like manage a calendar and figure out where we want to be speaking and where we want to attend and who we want to see. And you did it. You did it. And so like you heard, I'm sure you heard that from a bunch of people, right? And everyone else was like, hey, let me know when you find a solution. Now she's like, screw that, I'm going to make a solution. So let's talk about that for a second.
So, I mean, what's interesting about it is I'm sure subconsciously I had been asked multiple times, what conferences do you recommend? You know, and it kind of all came to a head actually last March. So last March, it was probably, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning. And my husband and I were laying in bed and I had come across a conference on my phone and I had never heard of the conference before. I had never heard of it before, but it looked amazing. It looked absolutely incredible. And it had one of those dual agendas where you had to pick which room you wanted to be in because there were competing speakers. And I wanted to be in both rooms. So the content wasn't just fluff content. It was amazing. It was in California. And I was thinking to myself, oh, I'll go and I'll have my asset manager at the time named Annie go as well. And Annie and I will go to this conference together. We'll divide and conquer. And then I pulled up the price and I was like, whoo, I got to fly out there. I'm staying out there. You know, I got to pay for Annie's ticket and my ticket. And I started digging down, you know, going down the rabbit hole and going, okay, there's got to be reviews on this conference somewhere. I wonder if it's as good as it sounds. And I started digging and digging and digging, and I couldn't find any reviews on this conference. And I turned to my husband and I said, Kyle, wouldn't it be amazing if there was a conference database, first of all, so you could actually find these events? But number two is conferences are such an investment these days. Wouldn't it be great if there were reviews so people knew in advance whether or not it was worth the investment? And he was like, that's a great idea. I'm sure there's something out there. And I said, no, I've literally been looking, Googling this for like an hour now. I can't find anything. I can't find anything on this event. And he was like, really? There's nothing? So then he started digging and he started looking into it, you know, whatever. Now, keep in mind that I am the visionary and Kyle's the integrator. So AKA I'm the dreamer and he is the dream crusher. And any single time I bring up any idea, he squashes it like an annoying gnat. And he doesn't even give me breathing room to let the idea, you know, manifest or come into existence. He's always like, Ashley, you're always up to something. You're always doing something. You're always, you know, you got to stay focused, focus, focus, focus. So we do morning walks, and every single morning we put the kids on the bus and then we go for a walk. And sometimes we don't talk at all. Sometimes we talk about different things. It's kind of like our own personal meditation that we do together. And on this walk, the following morning, he would not stop talking about this. He was like, Ashley, I really think this is a good idea. I really think you should look into it further. And I'm like, first of all, normally I don't tell you about an idea until I've sat with it for a week because I know you're going to crush it. It's a little intimidating to me right now that I just set it on a whim and you actually are running with this idea. I'm not 100% confident now. You're actually scaring me more because you're so into it. I need you to be the dream crusher. Like, I need you to tell me why it's a bad idea. And you're telling me only how it's such a good idea. So he's like, I really think, you really think. So the next day he's like, did you think about it some more? I'm like, it's been 24 hours, buddy. Like, I need more time. So this went on for like 2 to 3 days. And you know how I told you before, like, I'm really good at when someone comes up with an idea, coming up with a solution, multifaceted. Those are normally in context where I have all the information. I am not an expert at conferences. I am not an expert at marketing of events. I'm not an expert of speakers and platforms. I'm not an expert in technology. So these are all the unknowns of something that I was potentially going to need to be an expert in. And I didn't have all the pieces of the puzzle. So after I'd done some more research, because I'm a fanatic about research, I came to the conclusion that I wanted to create a repository that would have all conferences across all industries for the US. And in addition to that, all speakers. So there's not a single platform in the US that is a repository for speakers. So typically how you get asked to speak is through a referral, but there is no single platform in which you can look up speakers, you can search by topics, and you can explore new speakers. Here's the problem to that. Right now, there's only one statistic on minority representation with speakers, and that is the fact that 30% of conferences do not have a single Black speaker. They didn't even specify whether male or female. Now, as Bethany said earlier, I wrote the book over this shoulder on The Only Woman in the Room. I already know statistics about lack of representation of women in other sectors. So I can only assume that if it's consistent with all of the other statistics on Black representation versus women representation, typically Black representation statistically is normally higher in most cases than even women representation. So women as speakers must be even less than that. So I thought to myself, okay, this will be a great platform to give more visibility to minorities in general, regardless of race, sexual orientation, it doesn't matter. It's a platform in which we can have more visibility to stronger speakers. So to that effect, we created Conference Connect, and it is the #1 conference and speaker discovery platform. Right now, you can go on, register for free, you can review events, you can find out about all different types of events, you can review speakers, you can find out about different speakers. But in the future, we have some huge plans in terms of being a one-stop shop when you're looking for conferences, inclusive of ticket integration, communities and networking, being able to hire speakers. It has a lot of benefits and runway that we can create additional features to make it easier to do conferences.
It's like the IMBD of conferences.
Oh, yeah.
I like to say it's Ticketmaster meets Yelp for conferences.
There you go.
But
Nice.
IMDb is just as good because IMDb is inclusive of actors. So maybe I'm going to steal your, definition.
Hey, wherever I can
Jared.
contribute. I love it. Yeah.
Love it. And I set up my profile, although I have Jade on here, who's my social media manager. Jade, we need to like beef that up. I've been meaning to send you the link actually. So I'm signed up and registered, but my profile's not done.
Well, what's great about it too is we're going to be integrating an ability for every time that you speak to have a QR code for people to review you right after you speak, and it automatically goes to the site. So that way, when you're, at the end, when you're saying, okay, here's my contact information, your contact information could be on this platform, could be completely on this platform, plus it has reviews. So the CTA is the review, but while they're there, they'll have all your contact information in one spot plus reviews, and that'll increase your bookings for future speaking engagements.
I love this so much. I love it. And it's something that
So
so needed. So thank you for thinking of that in the middle of the night when the rest of us were sleeping.
No
Are you
problem.
gonna allow third-party integration? So like, maybe into Verity?
Sorry,
Bethany.
maybe what?
It's just this thing that Bethany and I are building, but yeah, no, it's like are you gonna do third party integration
We are
where like
working on that.
people? Yeah,
Yep,
Yes.
cool. I love it.
I love
definitely.
Can't wait
Yeah.
to check it out.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
So it is amazing. And if you got, I think probably half of everybody on here is looking right now about how to register. You should definitely register. You should definitely check out the events and review the speakers if you're not already on there. All right. So the next question that I want to ask you is, and I never have a good segue to that, so I just usually just kind of fumble into it, is we talk a lot about, or I talk a lot about conscious wealth. And what I found when I talk about that is that everybody has a different definition of what they think that means to them. And so I want to ask you, Ashley, what does conscious wealth mean to you?
I think it's twofold. Number one is the definition of wealth. And I think naturally people think wealth is just monetary, but you can be really wealthy in terms of your life with respect to all the blessings that you have in your life as well. And the conscious component of it, in my opinion, is the intention behind achieving that wealth or living in that wealth and being open to that wealth. So, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of challenges that come along with as you are continuing to build and climb up the ladder. But at the same time, I think if you're very intentional about where you are going and why you are going there and be open to the opportunities around you, you can build a very sustainable like ecosystem environment in which you can live a very wealthy life.
I love that. And I love I can tell you've put some thought into that. And that's something that is meaningful to you, which I really appreciate about you.